Welcome, everyone. For my time with you today, I want you to just feel open and free to be where you are most comfortable. We are going to do some activities during our time together today. I am a school counselor, so I'm used to leading activities. Everyone will need a piece of paper that they can draw on or write on, and I've got paper up here along with crayons, and I even brought some mechanical pencils. So as we get started, I would just invite you to come on up, grab some paper, grab a crayon or two, or some pencils, so that we can take a little journey together. And you're welcome to come down and sit in front. I promise I will not bite. In fact, I'm really not supposed to be away from this particular spot since we are live streaming and making videos for people. So this is pretty exciting for me. So I've got pencils here if people prefer pencils. Free to just take a couple crayons out of the box, or if you've got a large group, take the whole crayon box and have it as a gift. I found these really cool new crayons at the Dollar Tree. So that's what we have right here, our fancy crayons from the Dollar Tree. So I'm a big Dollar Tree fan, but they're scented in like things like Jolly Rancher scents, or there's even like little Care Bears on them, so kind of fun. So come and get some of that. It's pretty amazing. So some of you may know Michelle Schaefer. She's one of the board members of this organization, and I happen to work with Michelle. She and I are colleagues, and so that's kind of how I came to be here in this particular moment. So a little bit about me. I am a sister, a daughter, a spouse, and a school counselor. And I suppose at any given moment, that order might shift. There are some days when I think I'm far more present as a school counselor and probably not being the best sister that I could be in the world, or spouse, or daughter for that matter. But what has led me to this particular topic of self-compassion and family well-being is my own family's journey. I have a younger brother and an older sister. So my sister is 3 years older than me. My brother is 4 years younger than me. And when we were children, I was 8. Our father died of it was hepatitis at that point in time, but it was before they did liver transplants. And then, we journeyed through life and we did really well as a family. At the age of 19, however, this is my brother's age, so I would have been 23, my younger brother went swimming in a local pond where we had been, swam for most of our lives, and did a deep dive into a shallow portion of that pond. And John is now a quadriplegic. And so when I think about family well-being, that's what I'm talking about. The journey that we've had, he's been a quad now for 30 years. And it comes with a lot of trials, as many of you know, with your own medical journeys and your own experiences with your own family members. Nobody prepares you for the depth and the breadth of what you're going to have to experience. When John first had his injury, I thought, oh my gosh, he's never going to walk again. He's never going to feel again. I tell you what, if all we ever had was no movement and no feeling, life would be so good. It's all those tertiary, secondary, quaternary side effects and complications that come along the way. So I think of myself primarily probably as a sister. John has been my best friend since he was in the womb. I used to have my mom open her mouth so that I could talk to him when she was pregnant with him, because that was what I wanted to do. I was super excited about having a little sibling, and at that time I had no clue whether it was going to be a boy or a girl, but turned out to be my baby brother. And he and I are super close. I would say he is my best friend in life. So journeying with him has been a challenge in some moments, but it is truly one of my life's greatest journeys. I think of him as an angel that has been sent down from heaven, and I get to be his sister. So pretty lucky for me. But as I said, it doesn't come without its complications. And there are moments where I find my own anxiety, my own stress, my own fatigue, whatever it might be that I'm experiencing, is causing me to maybe not make the best decisions, or even just causing me a lot of distress. So I came into this practice of mindfulness not only through my profession, but also through the fact that I'm living this as a family member. And I use this regularly, this practice of mindfulness quite regularly, to really try to help me regulate and be the best person that I can be, so that I can be more present for John, my brother, my sister Kim, my mom, and my husband as well. And then also at work and all the other things that I do in life. So I would love to get to know you a little bit here. I'd love to know what brings you here to this particular session and what interests you about this particular topic. And when I think of mindfulness, this is like my favorite graphic, right? Like mindful is either, we've got our brain filled with a gazillion different things that are going on, or are we really present on the journey that we are experiencing? And that's what mindfulness is about. It's about that, that little vision that is on the right side, where we can see more clearly and appreciate where we are in this moment. So tell me a little bit about you. Who's here in the room? What brings you to this? This is probably really tricky. See, again, I'm a school counselor, so I'm you. Active participation is key. I thrive on it. So tell me, who are you?
I can start, and then so I'm here to I'm a mental health counselor through my day job, and I find mindfulness to be very helpful. It is hard for me to clear things out and relax. I always joke that I get more anxiety relaxing. So I'm just excited to have this.
Great, thank you.
I'm Kelley. I'm a child life specialist and patient care coordinator at the Institute. So I work with families and kids all day long. That's very interesting, as my whole job is to help emotionally support me while I go through this journey. But this picture is amazing. The best thing I've seen. That's perfect. I love it.
You are welcome to steal it. I stole it off of the internet, so I borrowed it, I should say. I grabbed it.
I'm Jane, and I discovered mindfulness. My son's almost 29, but when he went to college, I kind of almost started breaking down. Him being away from me, and that through that I found mindfulness, and I wish I had learned it years ago because it's been great. My name is Kira. I'm here with my daughter, but I also have two kids on the spectrum, and bonus kids living with us as well. I find that I'm able to And so it just, to be able to support the levels of my life. And then, with that, I give so much that I also realize how much I need to take care of myself as well. And just, the practice of being able to, decompress a little bit. It's really important for all of us.
Yeah.
Rachel. I have arthrosis in my arm, and in my early 30s, I started meditating, sort of informally and then more formally, and it was really because of work, stress, anxiety, just feeling busy, and I didn't really expect it to move me along my personal journey as it relates to arthritis, sort of self-awareness and confidence and all of those things. One of my observations along the way, which was really interesting, is that I'm someone who never feels like there's enough time in the day. I'm just a busy person, and I literally felt my relationship to time change as a practice of mindfulness and meditation. That was a really cool, special thing. So the fact that I saw the chat, I had to be here. Thanks for doing it.
Hi, my name is Jane. I'm a retired geriatric social worker. Work in a retirement community and I've led groups. So my husband also does AMC, and we're here together, and we do we have a personal yoga instructor. Who will meet with Zoom, and so she tailors it to us. And so she has also led us to speak on my. So.
Wow, thank you.
Hi, my name is Marty. I actively participate in meditation. Have found it helpful. Along with that, I found full benefit healing, and that mindfulness is really important.
Love that.
I'm Doug, and kind of from two different directions. The mindfulness of someone with AMC or osteoporosis, or being an osteopod, as the old term was, and that is to make yourself aware it's okay to ask for help. But it's also, on the other side, the able body to wait for them to ask for help, not to thrust yourself upon a person who can figure it out. So, both directions. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Lots of wonderful people, wonderful experiences in this room. I'm probably, quite honestly, right now, I'm feeling like I might be the least qualified person to lead this conversation, but nonetheless, here I am. Really appreciate all of you being here. If anyone feels the need to get up and move, roll around on the floor, she's totally fine. Let her have at it. Children should be children, and they need to move and do things. So many of us are really aware already of the power that mindfulness can bring to us. And essentially, when we think about mindfulness, this is just one definition, but it really means to just pay attention to where we are in the present and to just be non-judgmental with ourselves. Give ourselves the opportunity to simply experience what we're experiencing, the good, the bad, the full breadth of it. And to hold that space lovingly in our own brains and give ourselves that loving compassion as we breathe in and breathe out, and just be willing to gently let ourselves be and let ourselves experience the life that is presenting in front of us. Essentially for me, mindfulness is about this listening piece. It's just about really being aware of the silent conversations that I'm having in my brain, but then to really notice how those conversations are impacting me as a human. Sometimes I'm not even aware of some of the things that I'm thinking. I'll just notice that I'm having a lot of distress in my body. I'm feeling super anxious about something. I'm really overwhelmed about something, and I can feel it. I've got, the tightness in my chest. I'm clenching my jaw. I'm a jaw clencher. And I'm grinding my teeth, and I'm like, what is going on? And often I find those are the moments where I really just need to slow the world down and take some time to simply listen to what is happening in my brain. What are the messages that are rolling through in my brain that may be trickling into my body and causing me to experience some of this anxiousness? Or I'll flip it. What is that anxiousness kind of causing to happen in my brain? And then how are my thoughts impacting the way that I'm feeling? And how are those feelings then determining what it is that I'm actually doing? And around that think, feel, do cycle I go. But through that introspection, I gain a lot of clarity in my own life and my own ability to be able to say, okay, here's how I want to be the most fully present that I can be in these particular moments. As many of you were talking, I had moments in my brain, I'm like, oh, I have such a connection with that. And oh, I have such a connection with this piece. When you spoke about the gentleness of time and giving the individual with the disability time to kind of figure things out, or time and space. I know there are times when I rush in to help my brother when I really shouldn't be rushing in to help him. I can give him that space. He has a fully functioning mind, and I can let that happen gently. But then I also know that that's really hard to do if I see him suffering or something isn't working well for him. I want to just make it better, because I love him and that's what I want for him. I want life to be easy for him. And unfortunately, life is not easy for any of us, is what I've discovered. But nonetheless, we persevere. And I think through the gentle self-compassion and loving ourselves, we can continue on our own journey of being able to support ourselves to be more fully present. So I wanted to just go in a little bit briefly about what is mindfulness. To me, this is kind of what it is. There's formal mindfulness, there's informal mindfulness. Those of you who actually actively practice meditation and have an active meditation kind of script or process that you go through, kudos to you. That's absolutely amazing. We can practice mindfulness wherever we are, whether we're here in this moment, whether we're breathing deeply through something right now, or maybe we're at home, or maybe we do this at work. It's really about focusing our attention and just knowing ourselves and experiencing what we are experiencing at this particular moment. There are some very formal practices of mindfulness. Vipassana is a Buddhist tradition. I am not anywhere near that, but I think the link that I have there will take you to a place where you can learn a little bit more about it. It's like a 10-day course, and I think you can, really allow yourself to experience some intense meditation and mindfulness. And then there's also, in the field of counseling, there's something called mindful-based stress reduction. And that's mindfulness and using mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy as a strategy for supporting our life's journey and our life's growth. To me, mindfulness is just about recognizing how I can best support myself. And so what does it do? How does it change our brains and us? Some people think that it's just, it's those silly, practices that people do, but it actually has a lot of research behind it. And I'm not going to go over that because I am far from an expert in the research of mindfulness. But as a school counselor, I also recognize that it's super important that anything that we do with kids or with ourselves, maybe not always with ourselves, but that it have some element of research and evidence behind it, because that really helps us be able to grow and to be able to, know that what we're doing can really help us. So what does it do? There's a ton of neuroscience out there that says mindfulness actually works. It can help reduce cognitive decline. And when you're old like me, you start thinking about this. I'm noticing, holy cow, things don't get quite as sharp as they used to. Maybe this will be a good way for me to keep my brain going. One of the pieces that I think I love is that second one, like faster mental processing. At 53 years old, I do not think as fast as I did when I was 24. My brain takes a little bit longer at times. Doesn't mean that I'm not able or that I'm not as sharp, but hey, anything I can do to keep myself going cognitively is a good thing in this life. I also love this third bullet, increased thickness of this prefrontal cortex. I do not know where the right anterior insula of the brain is. Perhaps some of you do, but I do not. But your prefrontal cortex is right here. And this is where we do our thinking, our planning, where we modulate our activity. And to think about the ability to just practice mindfulness, to be aware of what I'm doing in my body, how I'm experiencing my body, what are those sensations, what are the emotions that I'm experiencing, and knowing that that can help me be more clear when I'm thinking and planning and organizing. I like that idea. So if we're thinking about mindfulness and, people might think, oh, what's that? It's just going to make me feel better. Actually, no, it's going to have some neurocognitive benefits for you as well. You're going to feel better and your brain is going to be stronger, which is a pretty cool thing. So what does it do and how does it do this for us? Well, it really kind of grounds us in our own experiences. It helps us to really become more aware of what is going on within our bodies. Most of us have this idea of sometimes our bodies and our brains aren't necessarily connected, but we know that that's not true. Our bodies are extremely connected to our minds. And the way we think can really impact what we are experiencing emotionally. And I'll just give you an example of this. I've been practicing mindfulness for, really hard for the past 2 weeks. My brother has pneumonia. And so it's been really, really hard because unlike me, he cannot take a deep breath because of his quadriplegia. So it's really, really difficult. And I remember I was taking a walk, because it is summer. As a school counselor, I'm on summer break, and I was taking a walk on a summer morning. It was probably about 10, and I was super anxious because of all that is going on with John right now and how tricky things are. And my mom is, of course, extremely concerned and worried as well, and our sister too. And I'm just kind of a ball of nerves with this entire walk. And I'm crying as I'm walking, and the people along the walking path, I'm sure, are looking at me like, okay, who goes by there? And I'm like, it is what it is. I got a lot going on. And so I just thought, here I am on this walk. I'm going to let myself cry. I'm just going to let whatever it is that I'm experiencing, I'm just going to experience it. But then I also really began to become aware that where my thoughts were in that moment that was causing me all of this distress and this feeling like I got to do something right now. It's in this moment, or else if I don't do X, then Y is not going to go into place, and then Z is not going to go, and I'm not going to get started again on X, Y, and Z. And I was really hitting some of those elements down at the bottom. In a fancy psychological term, we might say that I'm kind of dissociating from my own body, but I'm only dissociating in the sense that if somebody need help, we can stop for a moment. Aren't we lucky to be in a room and in a space where there are so many caring people who are here to help? Thank you, everyone, for your patience there, and thank you to our heroes right here, right in this room, who, you know, are willing to support one another. We appreciate you, your kindness, your caring, your thoughtfulness. Thank you. You know, we all need an opportunity to just kind of sometimes stop, right? Thank you. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for that. And for me, as I was saying, kind of that psychological term sometimes might be that we're dissociating from what's happening in our bodies, is when we begin to notice that, like, we have these obsessive thoughts, or we're judgmentally thinking or behaving in certain ways, or speeding and rushing along. And when I think about that walk that I was taking a couple weeks ago, thinking about my brother, I was doing kind of all of those things, and I had myself very much worked up. And when I realized what I was doing, I was able to just kind of use my own mindful technique and say, okay, this is what I'm experiencing in my body. This is time for me to gently put all of that on hold. What is it that I need to do to be fully present and be the most supportive in this particular moment? And in that moment, I was going to continue my walk, and then I was going to go home and get cleaned up, and I was heading over to assist my brother. And I thought, that's all I need to do. Yeah. Yes. I wish I could give you like a magic bullet to help someone. So for those of you who are kind of watching, the question is about what about those people who are so used to being so active and fast movers and, you know, on the ball. We keep that rigid schedule. And when we actually begin to slow ourselves down, that causes great discomfort. And how do we help those people address that discomfort, right? Or how do we help them even see this as something that might be able to help them? I think the first step is acknowledging it, honestly, because that's what mindfulness is really about, is like, if it's hard for me to slow down, I just need to notice that. What am I experiencing? What is the difficult part for me in making myself just be more fully present in this moment, as opposed to thinking about all the things that are on the calendar and the schedule and the tasks that need to be done. And being gentle with that, because I think knowing and giving yourself that opportunity to slow down can take a little bit of time. But through that time, we can get to a place where we're able to perhaps even just have, you know, smaller increments of time. I think for some people, this idea of mindfulness is about, I have to sit for an hour and I have to have this experience of, you know, meditation. And to me, it's not that. My personal idea of mindfulness is more about small moments that help me along my day-to-day journey. And I find that then those small moments often translate into, you know, deeper realizations about something along the way of what I'm experiencing, or to just more fully understand myself. But that didn't really answer your question, but maybe it helps a little bit. All right, so this is just some things when we aren't aware of what's going on with our emotions, can make us be tired, can give us anxiety, and can really lead to a lot of negativity in our lives. And I'm just gonna pass by that because I really don't like to spend time on negativity. We all know about all these yucky things, right? These things happen in our lives. And if, How do we get back? How do we help ourselves feel better? Well, we can do that by being mindful. And to do that, we just need to begin to notice when we are time traveling. In my brain, time traveling is when I'm working, like I'm thinking about, not necessarily like I'm going to really travel through time, like Back to the Future, kind of, with Marty and Doc, but time traveling in my mind of, oh my gosh, I'm worried about this is going to happen. And if I don't set this up, then this horrible consequence will happen. And if the doctor doesn't know this exact thing, then that horrible thing could happen. So I just really begin to catastrophize because I'm out there thinking about that future and making lots of decisions about a future that has not yet happened to come. And so how do I pause? How do I just help myself know that? These are those first steps. Just become aware. Know that it's there. And sometimes do that body scan. Be able to reestablish your connection with yourself and your conscious mind. So I'm going to move right on to, here's some helpful thinking practices. Patience, not judging ourselves and others, right? But let's practice a minute. So I asked you to go ahead and have a piece of paper and some crayons or a pencil or something. And what I'd like you to do is to just use your non-dominant hand. So I'm a righty, so I would use my left, and I am going to write my name. And I want you to do that if you're able this moment, and just feel what that's like. See if you can write it. If you know cursive, go ahead and try it in cursive. And once you get through your first name, are you able to write down your middle name and continue on? And what about that last name of yours? What I want you to notice is just what it feels right now, to stay present. Writing your name with your non-dominant hand takes cognitive thought. You have to just really stay in that moment to really try to get those letters to flow so that it can be legible. If I asked you to do it with your dominant hand, you wouldn't even have to look at the paper. In fact, you could have a conversation with somebody while you were writing your name because of all that muscle memory. Well, that little bit of writing your name with your non-dominant hand is just a quick introduction. It's a strategy. What is that like for you to just focus in completely? Focused attention is another one, focusing on breath. And I'm going to show let me see if I remember how to do this. This is my favorite video that I love to do with kids, where we do some relaxed breathing. We're going to do this together. Uh-oh, I just touched something, and I didn't want to do that. Hold on. There we go. This is really simple. When the fish goes up, when the puffer fish goes up, when we breathe in. And this makes me happy because it's a puffer fish and he's smiling. As the little puffer fish is there breathing, you'll notice on the right side there's breathing in and out here as well. And I could make it bigger, but I'm not going to, for fear that I might not be able to get back to where I want to be in this moment. But the element of just taking in those deep breaths, it often seems very trivial to us. And in a moment of stress, the last thing we often think about is, let me slow down my breathing. But what we stress into our bodies and makes it more. Deep breathing actually contradicts that a bit. And so when we can get in the habit of just taking some deep breaths a little bit more regularly, it's a really amazing opportunity for us to be able to start thinking, all right, I'm going to slow my breathing down. I'm going to slow my thinking down. And I share, there's a million different YouTube videos that you can watch that will guide you through deep breathing. I just like that one because I like the fish and I think it's really cute and it's fun with the little kids that I work with at times. But that focusing in on our breath is really important. Another one that is really fun to do is to think about our senses and how can we focus in on our senses. So one of the things that I do with students that I work with is I want us right now to think about 5 things that you see. So we're going to start with sight. So just take a look around. What are things that you see? I see an exit sign. I see a door. I see a chair, a projector, a microphone. You probably saw 5 different things, and that's okay. Now in my brain, I'm going, what are 4 things that I feel? I can feel the weight of this microphone. I can feel my shoe on the back of my ankle. The bridge of my glasses on my nose. And I feel the ring on my right hand. And I can go now to another sense that I have and go down to 3 and then to 2 and to 1. What do I taste? What do I smell? What do I hear? So if we sat here and we think about what are the things that we hear, can we name 3? Air fan. Heard a paper. And I heard someone talk in the next room over. And then maybe I go down to, what are 2 things that I am smelling in that moment? What is 1 thing that I taste? But a simple, quick sense check-in is a great strategy that we can use no matter where we are in our space, right? So something, again, the idea of just slowing down that thinking process or whatever that anxiousness might be so that we can begin to be more fully present. Taking a body scan is really just being able to kind of sit where you are. Give yourself, if you only have a minute, give yourself a minute. Be gentle with yourself. If you have 10, give yourself 10. It doesn't require that you lay down. It doesn't require that you take any particular pose, but you can sit right where you are in this space right here and just notice, what are you noticing in your body? Where are things tight? Where are things loose? Something heavy? Again, just by being aware of what your body is experiencing, you are helping your brain become more in touch with what your body is recognizing. And in doing so, you're going to help yourself through whatever that particular experience might be. And even if it's good, we can practice mindfulness. So as I get ready to kind of wind up, on the next thing that I want you to think about on your papers before I go today, is I want you can draw pictures. You can also write if you want. You can do it on the back side of your paper. What are the things in your life that bring you joy? Write those down. What are the things that lift your spirit? That you draw strength from? These could be big things. These could be little things that bring you joy. Holding that warm cup of coffee in the morning, I don't know what it is about it, but I love that cup of calm. It's like right there. Watching the hummingbirds come in and sip nectar out of my hummingbird feeder and from the flowers is another thing that just brings me immense joy. It's the littlest of things. As you think about those things, those areas of strength in your life, things that bring you joy, give you courage, connect you with others, they probably come in a number of different categories, but you might have listed some family support in there. You might have had people. You might have had some fun activities, maybe going for a walk, or maybe it's a sport or an athletic activity, or watching, cheering your favorite team brings you joy. For some of us, it might have been a mentor or another person in our life who cared for us, who kind of shows us another way, cheers for us. Maybe it was connected to spirituality, perhaps our faith, or just the practice of gratitude as well. Giving yourself the opportunity to sit and reflect about the things that bring you joy, the people, the places, the activities that strengthen you, is a wonderful way of just being present in the moment and giving yourself the opportunity to be happy. I thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for choosing this session. This is who I am. If anybody wants to contact me, you are more than welcome to send me an email. I would be happy to touch base with anybody about whatever your life's journey may be in those moments. I hope you're having a good conference.